All right, going live on YouTube?
Yeah. Look better here.
Yeah.
All right.
Am I using this mic?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome everybody on TikTok. Welcome everybody on YouTube. We're going to give this a minute for a few people to tune in here. I did want to get a date. What is next Sunday's date?
The 23rd. You got good volume on TikTok.
Good volume on TikTok. All right, very good. So yeah, if you guys could let me know here on YouTube if you can hear me and see me all right, that would be helpful. Thank you everybody on TikTok for already letting us know. So I do want to make a couple quick announcements while we let everybody tune in here. Just a reminder, if you weren't already aware, that if you guys need a reading or a healing and you don't have time to wait for something to get booked, Ivy's Healing Call Center is open 7 days a week. So check it out. You can go to the website in the link. Where is that? In the bio, or what do we call it?
The description.
Okay. So in the description box, you can go up to the website link, IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. 7 days a week. You need a healing. You need some confirmation on some type of change or question that you have. Check it out. Everyone at the Healing Call Center is certified through the Ivy League Psychic Academy in everything that they do. And we offer everything from psychic mediumship to Reiki to tarot, astrology, pet readings, even all kinds of things. Also, I wanted to announce we are back for our monthly walk-in night, virtual. So that is from the comfort of your own home, wherever you are. 100% online monthly psychic fair. These psychic fairs are $15. You get 2 tickets. So that's a reading and a healing, 2 readings, 2 healings, however you want to mix and match. And these are students and graduates of the Academy. So check it out. That is, what is the date on this? I want to say the last Saturday of this month, maybe?
It is. It's the 29th.
Okay, the 29th. So the last Saturday of this month. You can also go to the website for that. Also, Christina and I have a class, a mini class coming up. This is going to be next Tuesday. What is the date on that?
25th.
That's a trick question.
25th. So many dates.
Okay.
25th.
So next Tuesday, the 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern, back here on TikTok and YouTube, Reverend Christina and I will be talking in this free mini class on the reality of relationships. Why are some relationship dynamics so difficult? Why are others so hard to let go of, even when you know that you need to? And how can you better approach the relationships in your life with a clear understanding of their value and what the contract really is between the two of you, not having expectations that are too high or too low. So that's going to be really interesting. Reverend Christina will be covering the astrological aspects of that, and I'll be covering the more intuitive aspects. Then we have Reverend Danny's numerology course starts. What is the start date on that? I'm sorry, I'm putting Paul on the spot left and right. He probably knows though.
Yeah, I do. March 1st. Tuesday, March 1st. It runs every Tuesday of March. There are 5 classes.
Or Danny, I should have just asked you. Is that Tuesday, March 1st? That's accurate?
Yep. Yep, it sure is. It's as Paul said it perfectly. We have 5 Tuesdays in March, and we'll meet each Tuesday for class.
Okay, beautiful. And her numerology class is amazing. I've taken it several times myself. You learn something new each time. Also, you can attend. I don't know how many in-persons we'll be doing. Okay, with COVID and everything, it's like I don't even know if that's going to be on the table. But definitely through Zoom. So wherever you guys are, you can join her live for those, and they are available through video download. So anytime you want to do that. Also, the Psychic Mediumship course is officially evergreen after 10 years of trying to construct this thing. We are available now anytime. Go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com to register for that. Amazing. Okay. So excited to announce before we go ahead and get started here. that this is our 1-year anniversary of Roots Revival Interfaith. I don't know where the time has gone, but this was amazing to look at and to realize that it's already happened so quickly. We have so many sermons, quite a long list under our belt already. So wherever you can download a podcast, if you like to listen while you're on the go, or here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, you can go up into the playlist under Roots Revival Interfaith and listen to all of our old sermons. Because it is the anniversary next Sunday, all 4 of us will be here doing a celebration show, a live Q&A. So if you guys have questions for us personally, questions about what we do, our, specific belief systems, you could just dive in, and we look forward to being with you guys for that. It'll be a ton of fun. Okay, are we looking good? We've good audio, good visual all the way around?
Yep.
All right, very good. I do want to encourage you guys, if you could give this video a thumbs up right now, please. Also subscribe or hit that follow button. So welcome, everyone. I am your pastor, Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I am here tonight with Reverend Danny Johnson, our numerologist, Reverend Paul Casey, Healing Arts, and Reverend Christina Del Rey, our astrologer. We are Roots Revival Interfaith. We believe that if you follow the 3 truths in the universe, that is intuitive intelligence, numerology, and astrology, that the truths are revealed to you in such a way that you can heal your life, you can stay on your true life's path and calling, and ultimately be able to help others and assist them on their journeys. So today we are talking about how to let go of negativity. Now, we're an interactive church, so we encourage you to post your questions, your comments. Donations are always appreciated, and this is a good time to start posting your prayer and healing requests. We'll be getting to all of that a little bit later in the service. I'm going to talk first, and then Reverend Danny or Reverend Christina, whoever wants to jump in after that, we'll move it on to you guys. So, how to let go of negativity. Easier said than done. I am well aware of it. I do believe that most of us struggle with negativity. I think that as times are getting harder, whether it be the downfall of society or it be COVID related, it be sort of this environmental crisis with climate change that we're going through. There are so many different factors in the world around us and in our relationship to other people that are causing for negativity to spike. And I found that myself, my clients, my students, my friends, we are all finding that our old toolbox doesn't seem quite as strong as it used to. Things that used to work for you in dealing with negativity maybe aren't working as well, or literally do nothing for you anymore. And it's hard to come up with new tools in this particular area because negativity can be really incessant, especially when it comes to thoughts. It's really hard to control our emotions. I think we would all agree with this. Our feelings tend to run us over a lot of the time. And especially for those of you tuning in, you live in the States here in America, you know that we live in a society that feeds emotion. Instant gratification, greed. And it's all about feeling good and getting more. And so when we're being tested, as we are right now, we could be feeling that we are absolutely out of control with the negativity and we're struggling to get an upper hand and be positive. So whether it be from trauma, toxic environment, or anxious thinking, we are going to talk about all of these today. It's far too easy to lose our authentic selves to the gravity of negativity. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by our authentic selves? I believe that when we are tapping into our higher mind, our higher consciousness, when we are rooted and grounded and centered and in the flow of the universe and universal law, we, even if we're in a chaotic environment or our life circumstances are so, we can still remain in a place of peace, a feeling of being centered and okay and safe. And I think that's what so many of us are losing. So when you get out of touch with that, the negativity just sort of takes you away with it. And there's a sense of hopelessness and despair. We become reactionary. We're not able to be mindful and process what's actually happening, what is a threat versus what is sort of an illusion, and how we should best proceed forward. And when we don't come from that authentic place, we make a lot of mistakes. And you could say that we feed the problem with negative energy. So we could see that law of attraction kicks in, right? So what we feed out to the world, we get more of. And if you're coming from that place of negativity, even if you're a good person, even if you are doing the absolute best that you can, even if your intentions were great, you're going to get more of that negativity back due to universal law. So we want to stay high vibration, okay, and stay out of low vibration. So today I'm going to touch on the 3 most common areas that I see people struggling with this, and 5 tips that you can use every day. I just also wanted to touch on the toxic positivity movement. That was such a big hit, the last 5-6 years, which I always found a little hilarious because it's just not that easy. And it doesn't work. There is no reason to deny things that are negative. There's no reason to deny that things are bad or tough or painful. We don't need to keep a mask on and have this false positivity, this sort of high strung, out of our minds, upbeat, ridiculous attitude that pulls us away from honesty. It pulls us away from truth. It doesn't allow us to get comfortable in the discomfort. Our ultimate goal should not be to be positive. It should be to live in truth. And that's where you're going to naturally be in the flow and feel more centered, rooted, grounded, okay, which is happiness. Ultimately, that is joy and positivity. So we want to acknowledge, okay, the best way to combat this negativity is to acknowledge that it's there, to accept it for what it is, and to stay peaceful by being comfortable in the discomfort. Do not run away from it. But we are going to talk about more helpful tools here in a minute, 5 things that you can use in your everyday life that absolutely work. Now, the 3 most common areas that I see people struggling with this, we have trauma. Okay, then we're going to talk about toxic environment. We're going to talk about anxious thinking or anxious mentality. So trauma, what do I mean by that? Well, for people who went through a childhood trauma, neglect, abuse, maybe a narcissistic parent, an alcoholic parent, maybe, you were raised in the foster care system, whatever it is, you may have also from even, childhood, if you're a marginalized individual, if you're a minority, so LGBTQ, if you're Black, if you're Native, okay, whatever it is, Hispanic, Asian, and you're living in, especially a place like America, right? You're going to have additional traumas that you are forced to deal with from a very young age. Also, when we look at women in general, okay, all my sisters out there, we are traumatized. We don't talk about it enough. I think we are just now, it's the tip of the iceberg that we're even looking at the levels of trauma that women deal with their entire lives and deprogramming ourselves. So for all of us, okay, whatever group you fit into here, we have been programmed and brought up in so much toxicity that often we don't even notice it anymore. We don't know how it's constructed a lot of our thinking and habits, and what may be mental illness or misdiagnosed even as mental illness. We are just sort of soldiering on because we have to. And we reach places like this in society and in our timeline right now where negativity is skyrocketing. And some of us are really noticing that we're doing quite well with it. We have extra tools in our toolbox that the average person who hasn't suffered as much has. But many of us are also realizing we are hypersensitive and cannot take any more, stress put upon us. So we are definitely seeing that those suffering from trauma, are having a hard time with this negativity increasing. Then I want to talk about toxic environments. So toxic environments, whether it be those in an abusive marriage, an abusive family dynamic or household, we see the negativity increasing there. We see it in drug and alcohol abuse rates, suicide rates, domestic violence rates, especially in the last 3 years. Also in the workplace, I'm thrilled with this dialogue that's becoming louder and louder, and the work reform where we're not willing to say anymore, oh, I have burnout. We're saying, no, I'm being exploited. Okay, this is exploitation of our workers. So whether it's an abusive boss, a toxic work environment, heaven forbid, you're one of these people that isn't being treated properly through COVID and you're in the medical system, God bless you. I mean, whatever it is, so many people are standing up now and saying enough is enough, but that doesn't, come easily. So skyrocketing in negativity there as well. Also, in regards to the environment, our toxic environments, it's people. It's the way people aren't handling things well, whether it be COVID or it being, the economy plummeting, also things like global warming, the threat of what's happening to the environment. We basically feel like we're in end times. And there's a lot of sort of apocalyptic mentality going on. Okay. So we have to remember that even when you're having a good day, you are surrounded by an entire world of people that are feeling the pain, the frustration, and the fear of what is going on right now and what is right around the bend. Okay. And that means that as a human being, and we're all empathic, that you're picking up on that. All right. So it makes it harder to stay positive. Also, anxious thinking. And I find that these are people, even like myself, I have Gemini, right, Christina? And like sun, moon rising in like 3 houses or something. If you're a thinker, if you are somebody who's often in your head or you have perfectionistic tendencies, also these issues feed each other. So if you grew up in a traumatic environment, or if you went through some type of life trauma at some point, you may now be an anxious thinker because of that. We need to recognize when we're like a mouse on a wheel and our thoughts are just patterned and cyclical and out of control. There's a lot of this too in the way that we seek answers. And it's the human experience to want security and to feel like you know what's coming, or at least to have some idea, some clue about how you can handle what's going on in life. And right now, we just don't have that. Okay. Like nobody has that. So people are having to learn, many of us for the first time, what it's like to not get your instant gratification, to not get your answers, to have that ego taken away. You cannot control it right now. And so we have to control our minds because if we don't, it's the negativity that's going to take over all the choices that you make and your feelings and ultimately your health and spirituality as well. All right. So 5 tips to combat negativity. Again, okay, if you guys have not already done so, post your prayer and healing request now. We're an interactive church, so post your questions and comments, and donations are always appreciated. All right, 5 tips for combating negativity on a day-to-day basis. Number 1, train your brain. We talk about this a lot here at Roots Revival. You have to learn mindfulness. Mindfulness is really nothing more than being alert to what is happening in your thoughts. And in this case, you have to pay attention to when your negative thoughts have become so intense, or there are so many of them in a row, that you've basically given up the helm. You are no longer steering that ship. They have taken over you, and you're just along for the ride. So yes, it's hard, but mindfulness training simply means that every day you are going to commit to paying attention to what you're thinking. That's it. Okay. And then when you can do that, for many people, this is enough. For many people, this is enough of a solution. You will automatically get good at halting those negative thoughts and replacing them with positive thoughts. But if you need a little bit more help, as I do, we're going to move on to number 2. For every negative thought you identify that you're having, replace it with 3 positive thoughts. Does this take a minute? Yeah, it takes a minute. Are you worth it? You certainly are. And I bet it's not that hard to come up with 3 things that are going well for you. Your body is healthy at the moment, or, you're recovering. You have food on the table. You have a lunch that you can eat that day. You have a roof over your head. You have a friend. You have someone who loves you. You have a cat at home. Okay. You have an Amazon shipment coming in the next day. I don't know, whatever it is. Okay. So find 3 things to replace that negative thought with. Number 3, wear your goal on your body. I don't care if you write it on your hand. I like to keep Post-it notes nearby. If you keep a fortune cookie or a saying or a mantra, maybe in your pocket, you get it tattooed on you. I like to buy jewelry when I can afford it. And I like to get a piece of jewelry that every time I get a piece of jewelry, whatever it is, I put my intention in it. And I purchase it and bless it to keep me motivated and thinking, okay, on that one accomplishment or blessing that I want to have in my life, a way to be positive. So keep your goals on your body somewhere. Number 4, tune out the noise. We have to periodically stop and just identify who and what around us is nothing but noise. And to also know your limits. Sometimes just because we can push through doesn't mean we should. Sometimes we can do well, we can continue on, but we need to put our mental health first. And so that means pausing and saying, I don't really care that I can do more. I'm not going to do more, or I will choose to engage with these people or this environment later. I need a time out. And keep your equilibrium that way. Maintain a sense of being rooted and grounded and well balanced. Don't let it get out of whack. Okay. The more often you maintain it by tuning out the noise, the more automatic it will become for you when your peace is being disturbed. There is so much noise out there. So much of it is useless. And there are, people who want to chatter in a negative way. There are, constant demands and energy from around you pulling at you, asking and demanding more of you. And you have to understand that it is out of your boundary to give attention and energy to those things the majority of the time. So be mindful about what's draining you. And number 5, stop judging. Stop judging yourself. Stop judging dark energy. Stop judging negativity. Stop thinking that negativity is a problem, or that because you have issues, maintaining your mental health or your emotional well-being, that you have something wrong with you. And, this is a big problem too in the medical field and the psychology field. They don't look at people who had trauma from the time they were born and accept it as trauma, culturally or otherwise. There's no acceptance of that. It is a disorder. There is a pill for it. We're going to take care of it. It doesn't work that way. Not everything is a disorder. Not everything needs a medication. Sometimes we just need to process what we've been through and the toxic environment that we're in, that continues to feed it. So stop judging all of the negativity so harshly and see it more as a tool. Maybe even a friend, maybe even something that you can use through alchemy to convert from negative to positive. Use it as a strength, use it as your power, use it as a lesson for your growth, not only for you, but ultimately for other people. And when you can do that, share it. Share that information with other people. All right. So I do want to move on here. Reverend Danny or Reverend Christina, who wants to speak on this next?
I'll jump in. This topic of how letting go of negativity, this just feels like such a timely topic for our sermon today. And I'm also looking forward to hearing how the astrology plays in as well, because Christina has a way of being able to call it and prepare us in ways that we really need it. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. When connecting with spirit and preparing for today, one of the things that came through about how to let go of negativity is to reframe how we think about it. Because when thinking about this thing with negativity, one of the things that came to mind is, or one of the things that Spirit shared is, when people kind of compare being a realist versus an optimist. And when someone says, I'm going to be a realist, I'm going to be realistic about what a situation is, and I'm not going to set myself up for a situation or for an outcome that might not happen. And because for Reverend Ivy, I want to make sure to honor Pastor Ivy. I always want to say for Reverend Ivy, but Pastor Ivy.
I do that too. I call myself that.
Okay. Pastor Ivy, with you describing how people who've been marginalized have gone through so much, there has been so much letdown. And, from a young age, we're told to, think positively and good things will happen. And that because of circumstances outside of one's control, not so great things happen. And so we internalize it as, I'm just a person that attracts not so great things. And so it gets to that point of where not only do people try to consider themselves to be a realist versus an optimist, which can kind of be, there's almost like an invitation to find balance between the both of them, because being a realist is not completely seeking out or preparing for something not so great. And being an optimist is not necessarily thinking that everything is going to be roses and sunshine. There can be balance in both. And allowing for ourselves to reframe what negativity means, especially as it relates to what it means to see things realistically, because we can see things realistically and still make space for good things that can happen. We can make space for hope and for faith and for love, and also be honest with ourselves that there could be an outcome that might not be so great as well. So kind of making space for both of those perspectives, and to hold the contradictions in life, very much realizing adulthood is like holding multiple contradictions at the same time, and that is okay. One of the things that Spirit showed, and it was interesting how this came through, but allowing for and making space for positivity can sometimes feel, for many of us who have been let down and who have felt let down in many ways, that opening the door to positivity is like being in a horror movie and hearing a knock at the door and then opening the door. It's like, why in the world would I open a door in a horror movie? And it's like, I don't know what's there, and I'm in the middle of the woods and there's a knock on the door. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm going to open that door. Sure, good luck. And that is sometimes how letting positivity in can feel if negativity feels familiar. And the thing is, because with this thing with potential letdown that may have happened for folks throughout their lives, there's this phrase that I've heard when I was younger. I used to hear the elders say it, and I get it, and also want to keep it in perspective. That phrase is, I'd rather the devil that I know than the angel that I don't know, because like the devil that I know, I can prepare for that. I can prepare for the not so great stuff, and I can be, it's almost like kind of like feeling in a position of power, like I can prepare for that thing that's going to happen. But that good that could potentially happen, it could come in and they're going to be taken away from me. And then what's going to happen to me? So it is almost like preparing ourselves not to be set up. And when we have been through so much, being intentionally inviting positivity in can feel like a setup. It can feel like, why in the world would I want to put myself in that position? And the thing is, and that is understandable. And Pastor Ivy, I appreciate you saying like not to judge ourselves, because if that's the way that we've been conditioned to feel and to think, then it will take time for us to reframe it and to rethink it. And that is okay. And even if we do feel that way, it doesn't mean that we are not deserving of good, even if we feel that we have to prepare ourselves for the not so good. And that is like some of the ways that we can kind of prepare ourselves to kind of think about how to move ourselves from that space of needing to over prepare to allow for space in. Because the thing is, with that negativity, or with being intentionally holding negativity and almost intentionally not allowing for the positivity in, it is in a way saying to the universe that faith isn't real and faith doesn't matter. And even if I do have faith, it's not going to work out anyways. And that is, and I so appreciate you sharing how and saying that being disciplined is really important in that way. If I think we were on the same frequency, because Spirit shared how being self-discipline is one of the ultimate forms of self-love. And to really love yourself is to be intentionally disciplined in how we spend our time, in how we are meeting ourselves, and when we set a schedule for ourselves that we're going to do something, that we actually do it and we honor it. So in terms of how to kind of let go of the negativity, what Spirit what came through is to not set unrealistic expectations on ourselves. Like if we have been in a space of preparing for the not so great, preparing for the negative, and even if positivity, it's like, great, if it comes, fine, but I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to keep my shield and I'm going to have all of my ducks in a row. Then it's understandable that it might not feel natural to be in that space. So it's like little by little, and giving ourselves grace to do it incrementally, and not to expect for ourselves to be a different person and have a completely different mindset next week or tomorrow or 3 days from now. That's unfair to us. And that really is a setup. That's setting ourselves up to think to be something or be someone that we just might not be ready to be. And that's okay. Just making the commitment that we want to create more space for positivity, that in and of itself, and that is sending that frequency and those messages that I'm ready and I'm open and I'm human and I'll try. So that is doing it little by little. Also, having appreciation for, because there's, I know in previous sermons, we've shared how sometimes like defense mechanisms and different ways of operating in the world have served us well and have in a way protected us and gotten us to this point. So in a way, like showing appreciation for how our negative thinking may have in some ways allowed for us to be strategic at times when we needed to, allow for us to be head over heart, and allow for us to make decisions that we may not necessarily have wanted to make, but we knew were in our best interest. So there are some things where it's just to have appreciation and thank that negative thinking for how it protected us and got us to this point, but that I thank you and I release you, and like you take some rest, like almost telling the negativity, you take a rest, take a nap. We're going to allow someone else another energy to come in and do work right now. Also, sometimes we might not recognize how much we've grown and how much we've healed. So sometimes doing an actual self-assessment can be helpful, because sometimes the negativity and the negative thinking, the reason why it might not be helping us as much is because it's not serving the same purpose that it did. Like if we've grown beyond a certain point, even if we wanted to hold on to some of that negativity, it wouldn't even serve a purpose. It's kind of like if we were to, okay, I don't know very much about cars, but I'm going to try. So we have one car that takes the 87 gas, right? And then, yeah, regular, thank you. God bless you. Regular. And then we purchase a car that takes diesel gas, right? And if equating kind of like that negative thinking to a different kind of gas, not only will it not fuel the car and it won't allow the car to go, but it could end up doing damage to the car. So just allowing, like, thank you for what you've done for me. And in order for me to move forward, and I so appreciate your analogy with the car, in order for us to be in our power, we have to find a different source, a different way of being able to allow for our car to move forward and to celebrate ourselves in that way too. Also, with this thing with negativity, sometimes even if we have made progress, and this is where like the incremental progress can be helpful, is to really, and Spirit was really emphatic about this, is to not compare ourselves to other people. Like if we see other people and other people seem to be these not have a worry, not have a care in the world, and not be carrying anything, and haven't had to navigate anything horrible. Like, it's like, oh, wow, they're really wonderful. Like they must have been born under a good star, because my life isn't like that. And so what Spirit shared is this, there's this meme, this quote that I saw a while ago, and it said, like, not to compare your actual real life with someone else's highlight reels. Like we see, the cream of the top, like the top of the top, like those choice moments that are shared, and understandably so. People are private. We have the right to our privacy and not necessarily want to share everything. But the thing is, when we are going through our process of transformation, to not look at other people and say, why am I not like that? Because it's like, if you actually knew. And the thing is, and even if we were to speak with those people who we perceive whose lives must be so charmed, when we actually speak with them and they tell us what they are actually going through, what they've been through, like how they got to this place, it'll surprise us. So Spirit was really emphatic. Don't compare ourselves to other people, because it's unfair to us, it's unfair to other people, and other people might be really happy to share their stories about how they got to where they are too. And there could be some really powerfully transformative and potentially painful things that they've gone through that allow for them to get to where they are. With regard to the numbers, there were a couple of numbers that Spirit kind of brought forward that really can help us with moving from a place of embracing more and making space for positivity. And as we are making these changes, and one of them is 8, and number 8 is the 8 of the visionary. And the visionary, that is the person, and that is that numeric energy of taking an idea or a goal and making it into reality. And the essence of number 8 is not being afraid to make mistakes and not being afraid to fail. Very often there are, I think Paul is life path 8, if I'm not mistaken. And the quality, the essence of number 8 is the numeric energy 8 is taking risks and not being afraid to fail and not being afraid to make mistakes. And if something doesn't work, you go back to it. So as we are moving from a space of inviting positivity in while also holding where we are and who we are and honoring who we are, that is how we're able to kind of bring our whole selves along on the journey and not feel as though we have to compartmentalize or leave parts of ourselves behind. Because that's not fair, because those parts of ourselves that we might want to say, you know what, thanks, I don't need you anymore, actually got us to where we are. And that's unfair to ourselves to do that. So the number 8, and then also number 11, which is a master number. So anyone who might have 11 anywhere in their chart, or just the number 11 generally, that is the number of spiritual downloads. Like anyone with 11 in their chart, and I think Reverend Ivy, Reverend Christina, I want to dig into your numerology chart. We got to do that one day because I'm excited for see what numbers are there, because this Leo thing is, is real. So, but I do know that with like a heart's desire number, soul urge number is 11 for Ivy and for myself, and that number is related to receiving spiritual downloads, feeling information, receiving information from spirit, empathically, psychically, like all of the ways that Pastor Ivy teaches us about mediumship and how with communication with spirit. That is that number where that numeric energy where you get it from all angles all the time, and it's so hard to stop it. And it can happen at moments when you think you're just taking a break, and all of a sudden you just get a download and you've got all this information. That is where, and especially if there are warnings that are coming, it can feel overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, all of this stuff is happening around me. And especially in context, because for anyone with 11 in their chart or connect with the number 11, there for where it might look like everyone else, or not every, it might seem like folks around us are able to just kind of like move along and without a care in the world. And it's like, do you feel all of this coming? Oh my gosh, don't you? What is all of this? And so that is being aware and cognizant that that is the essence of that number, and that there is lots of information that comes. And there are ways for us to manage how that information, how that comes as well. And interestingly, Spirit nudged me to calculate the numeric energy of today's number. And today's number is 5. And 5 is the number of liberation. It's the number of freedom. It is that number in terms of travel as well, and allowing for ourselves to move out of a space that is potentially stifling. And the number 5 is just like that wanderlust energy. Like, I'm getting out of here and I'm not allowing for myself to be tied down in anything. And so it's interesting how Pastor Ivy, our topic for today is letting go of negativity, because letting go of negativity is freeing.
It is. Yeah.
Right. It's liberating. So that's what Spirit came through with today.
Just taking off those chains. Just think of entertaining a negative person or a negative thought or a negative feeling as chaining yourself down, and, ignoring it or letting go or setting boundaries with it is just like freeing yourself. Reverend Danny, that was so much great information. So one thing after another. I just wanted to touch on a couple different things that you said before we move on here to Reverend Christina. I love that you said, don't compare yourself, because you don't know. Somebody looks like they have a perfect life, or they have the Instagram life, they have quite possibly, if you ask them, have actually gone through a lot to get there. You don't know what they're battling. And I just wanted to play off of that a little bit. It's the same thing for those of you who feel like you want to judge yourself and you feel bad about yourself for being negative. It is something we need to grow out of. It is something we need to evolve from continuously over the course of our entire lives, especially if you came from trauma or hardship in a significant way. It isn't a one-time fix. It will be something that you gradually do over and over and over again, kind of like levels in a video game. And remember that even if there are people who have had these lovely lives, good time, noodle salad, that's it. That was their whole life. You have strengths that cannot be bought. And you have all kinds of wisdom to give. And if you're not using it, this can really help you with that conversion of negativity to positivity as well. Also, you said self-discipline is love. And Christina, I don't know if this is going to come up in the astrology or, Reverend Danny, if it's in the numerology for this year, but I feel like that is a theme for 2022. Self-discipline, people. Okay. We have to once and for all let go of easier said than done. I can't do it. I tried, but I can't. It's too hard. I think we're growing up this year, hopefully anyways, but heck yeah, that self-discipline is self-love. I want to just hashtag that. I love that. All right. Reverend Christina, do you want to jump in also before we get on to Reverend Christina? If you have not already done so, post your prayer and healing requests now. We're going to be getting to them in a minute, and any questions or comments that you have for today's sermon.
I apologize if I cough. I am post-COVID. It still lingers. But it's so interesting that Danny said about the 5s, because I have been seeing 5s all week, and I was born on the 5th, and somebody special that recently came into my life was also born on the 5th. So it does seem to be a theme. And you talked about freedom, and I have a very a chart right now that is really setting me free. So I think that that all really applies to me. So thank you for that. It's the Leo connection, of course, always. We do have a really big week in astrology this weekend. Probably, so today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just very big, huge moves in the sky. And we have Uranus direct, we have Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, we have the Cancer wolf moon that I know that Danny was feeling throughout the week. And we also have the lunar nodes shifting. So these are all intertwined, and a lot of shifting going on in the universe right now. And every 18 months, we have the lunar nodes, which aren't planets, but they are points, key points, as to like where the collective is going. And they shift every 18 months, and they are shifting on, I believe it's Wednesday. And they're shifting into, so we're going to have our south node, which is what we are basically purging as a collective, in Scorpio. And we have the lunar north node, which is what we are supposed to be seeking, and that is in Taurus. So when we talk about letting go of negativity, there really isn't a better setup for that. Because the south node in Scorpio, I mean, that's toxicity, that's trauma, that's letting go of how we've treated women, how we've treated minorities. And now Taurus is, we'll see, Scorpio, the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, right? So death and rebirth, transmuting, alchemy, right? That's that planet. And then we have the north node where we're going, and that is ruled by Venus. And Venus is about relationships, all kinds of relationships, and our values. And Venus is currently going retrograde. So we're reevaluating our relationships and our values, because one can't be without the other. We have to, our values and our relationships have to match, or there has to be a change. So the change is Pluto, which is the purging. So it's like we're looking really deeply at what needs to go, what's not working anymore, what negativity do we have to leave behind, whether that be our traumas, our old values, and Scorpio relates to sex, Scorpio relates to power. And, these are all things, and because we're going towards that divine feminine energy, we're looking towards empowerment now and transmutation. So, and, Venus is going to go direct on January 29th, which is going to, that's going to start putting us towards, the way that we're going to live our life in our values. But, she makes her last conjunction with the ruler of that south node. So we're going to know in March what we're purging. It's going to be much clearer then. But this really all has to do with, the divine feminine coming forward and women leading. And when you talk about Taurus too, it's about the 5 senses. So it's about pleasure and enjoying ourselves, but also being within the body, not being in our mind so much, or not being in the past trauma so much. We need to be in the present moment, because really Taurus is all about the present moment. So when we talk about negativity and letting go of trauma, we, that's not an easy thing to do, but we make a conscious choice to do that. And timing is so key when it comes to purging. Like, how you just you can't just purge something. You really sort of have to go through the process, and then you feel the time has come to let it go. And sometimes we don't want to let it go, but we have to let it go. We have to recognize the timing. And this is one of the things, ever since I've decided to stop controlling, or at least make an effort to stop controlling and to let the universe lead. This is something that I'm noticing, is that I have to pay attention to timing, and that's astrological timing. That's waiting to see the numbers, and that's asking my guides for help with that. And just, intrinsically feeling, intuitively feeling when things have to go. So these nodal shifts that the nodes are going to shift into this for the next 18 months are going to really help us. It's just going to give us that little bit of timing to push it out. Detachment is big, learning to detach. And sometimes you have to wait for the astrology to help you detach. Goes back to timing. It was interesting what Danny was saying about how people get addicted to the negativity and then they don't want to let it go because it almost gives them a sense of power. I have a friend who always says, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know what I mean? And it's a really bad mentality. It's an addiction. It's just like alcohol or drugs. You know what I mean? Like it's a chemical addiction to be addicted to that. So you really have to train the brain, like Ivy was saying. And, you have to, one thing I do is I write down my what I want to manifest, and I write it very detailed. And then before I go into a meditation, I read it over, and then I can manifest that. And I make everything. When you're a teacher, when they train you to be a teacher, you'll probably know this, Danny, you're not allowed to write anything negative. Like when you're writing a rule, you can't write it in like no talking. Like you can't write that. You have to write talking when it's permissible, right? So you have to turn it around to a positive. So that is part of training your brain. You can't say things. There's time for negativity. We all have negative in our lives. And I think acceptance is very powerful of something negative happening. Like Pastor Ivy was saying, acceptance, don't deny what's happening. Look at it, look at what it is. But then when you're going to manifest it, you have to change that wording around. You can't just walk around spewing negativity. You really have to kind of do what we did in college and turn it around to that positive so that your mind is on a higher vibration. I have so many notes. Let's see.
This could have been a 2 or 3 parter.
I really could have been.
Realizing
I have so much.
Cut ourselves off and
I just sent a meme to a friend who's going through a hard time, and it just said, things get hardest right before you level up. So if you feel yourself getting really negative, that probably means something good's going to happen. So turn that right around and manifest that. A lot of times I journal, and, it's not always convenient to journal. So I go into my notes in my phone because, you got to do it when this inspiration hits you. If you're like, oh, I should manifest that, or, oh, that's something really I want to keep, write it in your notes and then go back to it. Breath work is huge. And I know I always talk about this, but I need to do a video on it. We live in our survival chakra. We need to take the trauma that we hold in our survival chakra, bring it up and bring it out of the head. And this is like transmuting it. And it's amazing for trauma. It really is. Looking ahead and not back, looking at the now and looking ahead, realizing that, the more you look in the past, the more your body relives that situation. And it's almost like it ingrains it in your brain more. And then it's very tough. It's like a habit, it just becomes like a habit, and your body thinks it's going through it over and over and over again. The biggest lesson I have learned, and this one serves me the best, is to trust the unknown. And I know Danny was talking about people get so scared of the unknown, but they think they can hold on to that negativity because at least I can deal with that if it happens. But really the best thing I think is you can let that all go and just trust that something good is coming, or trust that the right situation for you is coming, and ask your guides. I think that's where I will end here. There's so much more we could say, like,
I think we should do a part 2.
yeah, totally.
You guys in the comment section, or give a thumbs up, right now, give some feedback. We're always looking for feedback on our sermon topics. Yes, they come from Spirit, but these are to engage with what we need, and Spirit's just sort of the jumping off point. So anything else that you guys would like to hear, even more specific sermons that you would like to hear on different topics on this, in regards to relationships or money, or and we do have some of these coming up for sure. They're already planned, but we would like to hear from you guys. Christina, were you done then? You wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that, I think we know this topic so well because we combat it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we do. This
Well,
is like
we're kind of obsessed. I think all of us are kind of, obsessed with,
exactly.
And even like just problem solving. It's just a part of, we're people that are very focused on growth, for ourselves and for the, for the world around us, and to help others. That we have to be. So it's constantly we're looking at this. Absolutely. We'll do a part 2. I just wanted to say a couple things off of what you said. And again, so much great information, one after another, one hit after another. But when you said that you got to stop letting your thoughts and your emotions get out of control, so that you're reliving. And I understand some of us are in therapy and that's part of the process, or some of us are having flashbacks, or some of us, are just finding that things that were buried and blocked out are coming up. There's a time and a place for that. But when it becomes destructive, it's no longer of use. You can't grow from it anymore, and it is just toxic. I love that you said you have to stop replaying it like a record, because it gets ingrained and it really does change your energy, your thinking, your mentality, everything formulates around that. And I love that saying, go back and laugh in the places you've cried. I think it's so important for us almost ceremonially, to make an effort to convert negative energy into good karma. Whether it be, an incident or an actual location, try to find a way to do that as much as you can. And on that note, I love too, Christina, how you said about manifestation. You do a manifestation before you go into a meditation. And I think this is why we're seeing such a huge increase in witchcraft and interest in paganism, and an interest in all different kinds of religions. And we would even say like our ancestral roots, for many people, getting back to where we came from, because they involve so many spells and rituals and ceremonies. These are all just forms of manifestation. So get into it, people. Dive in. Okay. Keep it clean, but dive in. And I was also going to say that I really like how you said that when inspiration comes, you should write down or journal out whatever positivity, growth, insight, lesson it is that came to you. And I just love that so much, because so often we wait till we're broken, or we're broke down, or we're in a meltdown, or we're in a crisis. And then we're like, oh, wow, I got to clean up this negativity. Why wait? Maintain. And something like that is just huge. Keep a journal, right? Keep it in your purse, keep it in your car, keep it on your desk at work. That's fabulous. Just fabulous. You guys are so great. Okay, well, I do want to get on. We have questions and comments. Okay, so Reverend Paul is going to pop these up. We're going to touch on these quickly because we are quite a bit over. Danny, do you need to go? Or Reverend Christina? I know we're a little late.
I'm here.
Okay, you guys are both good? All right. So we will get through these quickly, and then we are going to get onto prayer and healing requests. What do we have?
So right in between Danny's and then to Christina's, right before with all the 5 talk, this popped up.
Okay, so yeah, between Reverend Danny speaking and Reverend Christina speaking, Danielle Rose says, been seeing 555 all week. That's funny that collectively we're all seeing the same thing because that's what it is. That's the energy. And that just goes to show energy doesn't lie. Amazing. Then we have Andrea says part 2 would be great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Jordan Johnson says, thank you, Christina. I so needed to hear your words tonight. You said, before you level up, you may face negativity and don't fear the unknown. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. So last words. I guess if I were to say that there's one thing on this topic, that is so important, I would want you to take forward with you. It is that everything we go through has a purpose. It's useful. The world is not just a chaotic train wreck of experiences. It's not a joke. It isn't like some big cosmic trick on you. There is a bigger force and energy beyond us. There is purpose to your life, and there is purpose to everything that happens in your life. And the negative stuff that happens is probably the most useful out of anything you're going to get. The happy times, the good stuff that comes to you, the prosperity, it's wonderful, keeps us going. It's a lovely thing and we should enjoy it, but we need to put more value on what we consider to be dark, toxic, negative, because that's where your growth and your evolution, and often it is the driving force behind getting you in alignment with your life contract. So it is so important to address and honor. You guys, closing words?
For tonight, I know that we share that our sermons, our services always heal us. Tonight, there was something special about Reverend Christina, the way that you described the astrology. It is just reminder that the universe has our back. There's something in the way that you describe the astrology today that just is a reminder, in the same way that the ancestors and the guides have our back, that astrology has our back as well. And that was so comforting to me tonight. And I just wanted to share that and speak on that, because we have spoken about astrology a lot, and you've done my multiple charts for me. But tonight, the way that you framed it is just something that I needed. And I know that everyone who is joining us, I'm sure, felt that too. So thank you.
Thank you. And, Cancer full moon, that is like a full moon of the ancestors. So I know that you're feeling that very deeply, because Cancer's the moon, Cancer's family, but Cancer's past. So it's past family, ancestors. So I think that you're just really feeling that very heavily. And I think in your chart, it's in the 12th house. So you'll be feeling that mediumistically for sure.
Very interesting. Yeah, it is just so incredible that all the numbers and all the planets, right? All of Spirit's messages, everything aligns. We are really all, able to be on the same frequency with each other, with the universe, with our intuition. We just have to tap into it. And these are tools to do that all the time. It's not just this week. Amazing. I do want to get to the prayer and healing requests. I'm assuming we have some coming in. Okay, so I just want to invite everybody to join us at this time. Again, if you haven't already done so, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Donations are appreciated. Post your prayer and healing requests now. And if everybody could collectively come together to give positive energy and prayers and manifestation to each other, we're going to move on to this now. All right. Holy Spirit, we thank you for being with us today and always. We thank you for this opportunity to come together and to touch so many souls and lives, whether it be today, people tuning in, or later when they listen. And I just ask that you help people in a way that they can really understand, meet them where they are, and help them to grasp the things that we talked about today to move from negativity to positivity more easily.
Two pieces.
Okay. All right. Our first prayer request is coming from a Shelby Bear. Please pray for my friend Stevie that she heals from surgery. Also pray for guidance in all aspects of my life, and for my daughter Aubrey that she stays healthy. Okay. Prayers over Shelby, her daughter, her friend, and their continued health and healing. Okay. Okay, from Kelly Roberts Wheat, prayer requests needed for strength, power, and the ability to stand up and leave the toxic environment that I'm in. Okay, please help Kelly to tap in to the strength, the resources, the energy that the universe is providing for her. Please help her to quickly move through this period of tension in her life and get to higher ground. Prayers for Danielle Rose. May I please get a prayer to help release resentment toward the people who hurt me? Prayers over Danielle. Help her to move through the forgiveness process, not for them, but for herself, to cut those cords and to convert the negativity into positivity. Show her the ways of alchemy and help her to be strengthened and give this out to others. Okay, prayers from Lucy Marsh. Prayer and healing requests for courage and hope in facing and letting go of trauma, as well as discernment as to what to communicate in my relationship and family relationships. Prayers over Lucy. Help her discernment to be strong and recognizable. Help her to have the strength and the wisdom to know which is which and how to move forward in divine timing in all of her relationships. Help her to bring healing to those relationships and her relationship to herself and her self-trust and confidence. Melissa Subia. I just need prayers for all of this. I've been feeling depressed again, but trying to fight through it. This is the perfect message for me right now. Prayers over Melissa. Help her to get a strong hold on the negativity in her life and convert it into positivity. Help her to feel uplifted and put little things on her path that can help to bring more joy and peace into her world as she fights the depression. Your future ex-wifey, prayer request to attract the people who are meant for me and release the ones who aren't peacefully. That is a fantastic way of saying it. Prayers over your future ex-wifey that she can release willingly, with wisdom and courage, those that are no longer meant to be on her journey, and that she can embrace the work that she's here to do with members of her soul tribe. Kim Heal, prayers for my daughters to heal from childhood trauma. Prayers over Kim and her daughters as they continue on their healing journey, that they can assist one another, that they learn proper boundary setting, and that they learn to trust themselves and their intuition, and that this healing process helps them to stay more on their own life path and within their life contracts to be able to use this trauma to heal others in the future. Okay, and Reverends, did you want to add anything to this prayer list this week?
I wanted to say I wanted to put blessings on my friend Shayna, who's mourning the loss of her very young husband from COVID.
Amen.
And I'd also like to please lift up Angela, who very similarly to the person that Christina just lifted up, who lost her husband to COVID, and tomorrow is the 1 month anniversary of his passing. And prayers for her and her family and their 2 young twins, and prayers for Denise, who has pipes bursted in front of her house today after having buried her nephew just a few days ago. And also prayers for my godmother, Diane, who lost her mother, my aunt, a few months ago, and just last week lost her very best friend since the 3rd grade. And they've been friends since for over 50 years. So prayers for her and her healing as she makes sense and navigates the world without both her mother and her best friend.
Amen. All right. All right. Well, everybody, continue. Oops, I'm echoing. Continue to post your prayer and healing requests. We will check these throughout the week. And I hope that, this sermon this week helped a lot of you to continue on. These difficult times aren't going anywhere anytime soon. We are definitely in a new phase in life, in the world. And that is, I hope, for many of you turning into, a journey of growth and hope and, really revealing where awakenings need to be occurring around us. We can use this wisely. Please continue to post requests for upcoming sermons. And I just want to say again, congratulations and celebrations. And thank you so much to Reverend Paul, Reverend Christina, Reverend Danny for our 1-year anniversary. We will see you guys next Sunday for our 1-year anniversary special sermon Q&A. Any questions that you have for any of us, we'll be talking to you guys and just having some fun. I think it'll be a great time. We need it.
Yay, thank you.
See you guys next week.
Exciting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I am too.